it goes by really fast, and then at the end you're like, hopefully we have things that we can use. So
Yeah. No, I'm sure we'll have a lot. Just from that one time we went
the
to
dinner.
lunch, like I felt like there was so much.
We should have just recorded that.
I'm like, we could have literally just recorded right there and then posted it, and I think that would have been great.
That should be the goal. One day, hermanas, we will have a restaurant sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can all just go and have a dinner and record it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And then
I have a lot of
there.
connections in the food industry with a lot of restaurants, and I already know someone that would let us use their restaurant.
Really?
So let me know, and we'll do that.
Yes, count us in, because then they get promotion, we get promotion.
Yeah, of course.
Then,
yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Imagine like after hours, and then they bring us food, and we're just like, oh.
Yes. No, seriously.
That's our favorite. That's what we post so much about. We were talking about random, like posting random. We post random things like drinks and coffee, and then I want to do working out, because I'm going to start working out with Steph.
Oh,
did I tell you?
No,
well,
that's amazing.
I was one of her first clients.
So was I.
Like, around that same time.
I remember.
But it was a different time. You have to be in a good headspace.
Yeah.
To want to change your body and your life.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I haven't told her this, but I'll have to tell her this one day. But she changed my life in a different way. It imploded my life. Maybe I didn't get in shape.
Yeah.
But in those 6 months, my life completely changed.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the relationship I had with Steph.
Well, you and I both. She changed my life too, and we'll have to.
She's magic.
Yeah, she's crazy in the best ways. Seriously, I met her when I was just starting out too, and she saw me in the beginning when I was still with Tiny's dad, and Tiny's wasn't even a thing yet, a business yet. It was still just me. Her and Fernando were actually the ones that were my little guinea pigs. I would bring them my stuff, and I'd be like, okay, try it and tell me if it's good, and they would be the ones telling me, okay, it's good, or it needs this, or it needs that, and they would test it out.
And I know Fernando was honest.
Oh, and
he told you.
Oh, yeah, he was honest. But he always made me like, this shit's bomb, you gotta sell it. They would always tell me, they're like, yeah, just do it. This is so good. And at the time, there was a huge brand trending. It was called Pika Pika. They were huge. And I remember Steph saying, we actually had some of theirs, and we think yours are better. If you could just sell these. And she was being honest, and so was Fernando. They were like, theirs are just too sour and too agrios, they said. And so I remember ordering, and then I tried it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. From there, Steph and Fernando were just trying my stuff in their home. I would bring it when I would go and train in her garage, because when she started, she was starting in her garage, but she didn't even have her flooring, like nothing. It was like cement. She was starting off and I was starting off. Yeah. And so I remember I would bring my candies and my stuff to Steph and Fernando. They would try it. They would tell me if it's good, if it's not, and then I would just go home and perfect it. And so that was one of my first items that I started selling in my business.
The candies.
The dulces enchilados, yeah.
Well, I feel like they're so good, and is it scalable? Is it worth the profit margins? I feel are better than even elotes.
So I know my profit margins well on these, because I just I competed in that competition a few months ago, and so they're really good. They're very scalable.
Delicious. Well, and then how long do they last too? Can you keep them for a while? What's the shelf life?
I have had clients that are like, we kept ours in the fridge for a month. I always tell people to eat them within the first 5 to 7 days, so I should be just kind of leaving them out. There's nothing in there that can rot, or like dairy or anything like that, but still, I recommend eating them within the first 5 days. But I've had clients that keep theirs in the fridge. The rim dip that I make, that one lasts longer, and that one can be refrigerated.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Speaking of the rim dip, we need to get that. We need to buy some from you so that Kellen can make it.
Oh,
he was like, wait, do you think I should actually make her a drink? I was like, no, it's 10 o'clock. But if you want one,
like, yes, you absolutely should. I was not kidding when I left that comment.
Do you want me to
so funny. Yeah, it's like, where's my margarita? Or no, what was it? Palomas, right? Paloma.
Yes.
I saw that video. It was like, and what's so funny is that Casey had just told me, do you want to drink some whiskey? Because we'll usually just hang out. We literally just stay in Friday nights. Yeah. You want to have some whiskey? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to fix my gut health. I'm like on this Whole Foods diet. Why are you doing this to me? And then I'm like, I can't say no. So I'm having some whiskey with him. And then I go on there and I see the video and I'm like, hi, Kellen, please have my drink ready at 10 a.m. I will be there.
Hey, he can make you one. You want one? I'm down.
You're going to have one too?
Yeah, I'll have one.
Okay, yeah, we should have some.
Let's do it. Oh, Kellen. Well, and I think that's why Tiny's kicked off so much is because of the internet, right? Is that solely what you've been doing? Is just the internet?
Yeah, so I always tell everyone, because that's the number one question I get asked all the time, is how did your business blow up so big? How did it grow? And like, to me, I feel like I'm not really that big, but I know I've done a lot, but my following, everyone's like, how did you grow your following so big? How did you do all these things and get all these connections and
especially
stuff.
As a business, because not a lot of people want to follow a business.
No, yeah. And so honestly, I just always tell everyone that social media is key. That's how I've landed a lot of the deals that I've gotten in my business, and how it's grown the way it has, and how people know who I am. Even when I go to events, I feel like I always am humbly vendor with the longest lines, and I have other vendors like, dude, how do you get the word out? So I'm like, social media. You have to post and you have to grow your following. And so when I first started my social media, actually, I remember I started at 0 followers.
Yeah.
And I just posted like my first sale, hey, whatever you buy, if you buy something, post it on your story, tag me, and on your next order, I'll give you a free elote. Ooh, and I remember my brother saw that, and he's, you're gonna lose so much money. Like, why did you do that? And I'm like, you're wrong. Because the way that I see it is companies pay so much money in businesses for advertisements and ads and marketing. And I looked at every single person that bought from me, and I looked at their following. And the person with the least amount of followers was like 600 and something followers. And the person with the most was sitting at like 7,000 followers. And so they were all in between the hundreds and thousands of followers. Altogether, they accumulated almost like 30,000 followers.
People that are going to see it.
Yeah, people that are going to see it. And so that's how I saw it, as an audience as a whole. And so if I can just get every single person that bought from me to post me, their whole audience will see me. And so it wasn't even a lot out of my pocket. The corn was so cheap. And so giving them a corn, even with everything after I make it, it was like $1.50 coming out of my pocket per person. So let's just say, because I can't remember the exact number, but it was like 10 people. It probably was like $15 out of my pocket. But that $15 got me far, because from there, I think I reached 300 followers in the first day. And it was real followers, authentic followers, real people. So $15 got me 300 real authentic followers. And from those followers, I don't know in numbers exactly how much I made, but I just remember the next sale after that, all of the people that followed me bought from me. And I'm not saying all 300, because I already had a majority of them followed me. Because they saw it, because all these people, when I told them, hey, post me on your story and you'll get a free elote, they were all like, everybody likes free stuff. And so they tagged me, and then people clicked on my name, started following me too. The next time they came, they got an elote. And because you're already giving them something for free, they're going to post you again. And so I was like, if I can just
and they're so aesthetic.
Yeah.
Even side note, your food is very
Thank you.
good to look at. And you even posted it yourself once. You said how we started and how we're doing.
Yeah.
And even just the difference. People want, in part, yes, it's your business, but it's also like entertainment. And to feel something and to be like, oh, that looks so good, I want to try it. And I'm sure even the people posting it in their homes, it looked good.
Yeah, that's the number one compliment I get too, is your food looks exactly how it does in your pictures. Because my number one pet peeve with the food industry is when they display something and it looks so good. You'll go to Carl's Jr. and it's a huge burger, and then you get it and it's so flat and ugly. And I'm like, presentation is everything to me. So that's why I worked really hard on my logo. That's why I worked on my containers. It goes down to even the spoon, like what color is the spoon? My napkin color, I mean, everything. So I really wanted it to be like presentation, because people eat with their eyes first. Something that I always say, people eat with their eyes first. If it looks good, if it looks clean, if it looks appetizing, they will want it. And then after, the taste comes afterwards, and that's when you get them hooked. And then it's like presentation and taste. They're going to be your customer forever.
Hand in hand.
And so
how did you get that knowledge? Did you just know that from school, or did you just inherently know, hey, marketing is important?
Hell no, I wish they would have taught this in school. Are you kidding me? I wish they would have taught this in school. No, honestly, just naturally. I just think that way. That's how my brain is wired, to sell and to market, and how to be my customers' friends, because I always like to keep my customers happy. And so, like I said, when I was giving away the free stuff, my brother was like, no, you're going to lose so much money. But I saw it as an investment to my company, and people were happy. And the thing is, after those people posted me, I did what I told them I'd do. I gave them their free elote.
Followed through.
So then, since they came and they were so happy, thank you, they're happy they got something for free, they already posted it. Because in their head, the way they think is, oh, I didn't pay for it, the least I can do is post her. And so there they go, posting me again, and that's another round of people. And then the other people that they got to follow me from their stories, then they're buying from me, and then I'm giving them the same deal, and I'm like, hey, post me, you'll get this. And then I have 20 people posting me this time instead of 10, and it just went up and up. And I only did that, honestly, the first 2-3 weeks. Then after just being kind and just giving them the free stuff as promised, then after that, it just became like a routine to them. So they would just come buy from me. I didn't have to give anything away anymore. They would just post me, because it was a natural habit, a routine almost, that they already knew. Oh, I buy from her, I post her. And so that's how I grew my audience. And then more people started having like bigger eyes on me. So then I had people from the city reaching out like, hey, we see that you get a lot of engagement. We see that people love your stuff. Come to our event. will waive your fee.
Wow,
and usually what's
wonderful.
crazy about these events is, because it wasn't just a city, it was multiple events reaching out. Usually people pay $700 to thousands of dollars to be at these events.
I used to pay $600 for Street Fest when I was at D&T. And I felt like that was a lot. And I didn't offer any product.
Yeah, and usually vendors also have to fight for their spot to get in because they only allow a certain amount. So there's hundreds of vendors.
Yeah.
And they're always fighting for a spot to get in because it's money. You make a lot of money when you go into these events. And so the fact that I had people reaching out like, hey, we want you there. We will waive your fee. So they weren't paying me, but in a way they were, because they were waiving my fee. Yeah. And they were like, we just want you there. We want you to post about it. And so that was my first ever event I did, was the Washington County Fair.
That's a big event.
It was huge. I've done so many events throughout the years now, but that one is still to this day the biggest one I ever do. And it just grows and grows more every year. And we laugh because we're like, it's so funny that was the first event we ever did as a family. Because I only hire in my family. I have trust issues.
I was going to ask if your family's been in it since day one.
Yeah, so my dad has been my right hand with anything business. He's always there doing my setup. He built me my setup, so it's like a all matte wood setup. It's really
beautiful since day one too. That's from what I've seen, but also I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't there first day one, but at the very beginning, I remember the setup being pretty consistent.
Yes, that's what I went for. Just the look. I wanted it to be beautiful, matte black. And my dad built me the cabinets. If you ever walk inside my booth, it's like a kitchen. I have my counters, and I have an island, and I have a bunch of cabinets where I put stuff. He even did a little cutout for my mini fridge where I put a lot of my sauces. Yeah, my dad has been my right hand since the beginning. And my brother Eric has also been employed by me for a while. I say employed because that's a professional. Because a lot of people, they're always like, does your family help you? And I'm like, yes, but I hope people don't think that they're not getting paid or that they're just doing it for free.
Yeah,
like,
you guys work together.
Yes, I pay them.
Business.
And it's the biggest blessing that I get to share that with my family now, because I also am creating jobs by doing this. And so like my family, sometimes one of my siblings will come and be like, hey, do you have an event coming up? Because I just want to make extra money for this trip or for this or that. And I'm like, yeah, come with me. It's good money every time, because if I make good money, they make good money.
Yeah.
And I pay them their hourly. I always tip them really good. I feed them. I take care of them just like if they were employees. And my sister has said it. She's like, you're such a different person when you're in business mode. Like,
you have a different person.
I have a different personality.
I mean, we have a...
Yeah.
It's business time and then there's casual time. And along those same lines, how is working with family? Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, so I'll be honest. When it comes to working with my dad, we click. I respect my dad so much, and he's just the biggest help, and I know that I would not be here without his help. He has helped my business. Yeah, I love my dad. I have no issue working with my dad. I cannot for the life of me ever, even in my worst nightmares, I would never work with my mom.
De veras.
We have the same personality, so we crash. Working with her would be like someone setting me up to fail since the beginning.
Yeah.
And so...
But that's self-awareness to know that.
Oh, no, and she's aware. So she doesn't even ask. Everybody else is like, okay, we're working, and she stays out of it. Because we both know, we're very aware. And so we just avoid that, so our relationship maintains good, and we don't have to like work. So I never work with my mom. Sometimes she'll do the salsa, so I'll be like, Mom, I need the salsas for this that I'm selling, the molitas, the tortas, whatever. Yeah. And so I'll take all the stuff to her, and she makes it for me, and then my dad brings it to me. But she's never physically there working.
Did you learn that by trial and error, or did you just know that you've never even tried it?
No, me and my mom have always had, honestly, a rocky relationship. It's like love and hate. Like, I love my mom so much and she loves me so much, but we just bump heads a lot because everyone says it. I'm like, please don't tell me that I'm just like her, because I have an issue with the way she is. She sees me that way too. Okay. But everyone's, you guys are literally the same person. Like, even Casey has told me, Casey's my boyfriend, by the way. He's like, you and your mom, you and your mom have the same personality. And my dad's like, they do. And that's why they crash so much. And so I could never work with my mom. I can work with my dad. I work with my sister, Carmen. She's usually my cashier pretty well. Jorge just does his own thing. He's so busy with his life. And so unless I really don't have anyone, I'll ask him. And I have worked in the past pretty well. But the last time was like 2 years ago. Eric is the one that I work with the most. And he's also the one that I crash with the most. It's like kind of a family thing. Like and like, I don't even care if he sees this because it's the truth and I've told him it, but he sees it like, we're family. Oh, it's okay if I'm 10 minutes late because it's just my sister. Oh, well, it's okay if I do this because it's my sister. And I have an issue with that. And I get on him.
How do you manage that?
Not well. I raise my voice at him and I'm like, because we're siblings. So from my end, it's also, because I would never talk to one of my employees like that.
And is he younger or older?
He's younger.
Oh, younger.
Not too much.
Okay.
So he's 24 and I'm 26. So
okay.
So we're
2
right
years.
there. We were always best friends. Him and I growing up, we've always been the closest. Like we do everything together. But when we were
very blunt with each other.
Yes, we are. And so sometimes I'll tell him to do something and it's just that sibling thing where he thinks he can talk to me and I'm like, hey, I understand we're siblings, but this is work.
Yes.
Cut your shit, get to work, do what I'm telling you. I'm not your sister right now. I'm your boss. I'm paying you. And I always say, I'm paying you. You're not paying me. Because sometimes he'll try to tell me what to do. And in the thing, he'll be, no, you do it like this. And I'm like, Eric, do what I'm telling you to do right now. And I have to talk to him that way sometimes because he just, like I said, I think it's both of us. We're just siblings. And so it's hard sometimes. But holy crap, he really carries the team sometimes because I've tried training different employees to help me with the esquites and nobody can ever get it. They'll right. do them. And I'm a perfectionist and Eric is the closest it's gotten. Like he knows how to make the elotes, the esquites, the raspados. I can trust him. Yeah, I can trust him where people wouldn't even be able to taste the difference on if I made it or he made it.
Yeah.
Sometimes with even my dad does all the hard labor, like the setup and everything, heating up the burners, everything. But when it comes to making an esquite, my dad could not make an esquite for the life of him. It's not really his thing. He's just more of the heavy duty work and on the grill. He does the molitas and the meat and the heavier duty stuff. But Eric, I can just count on him. And so.
But also botanas. So I feel like sometimes people think it's really easy, but there is an art to it because when I would go to California as a kid, I would crave los elotes de this particular vendor that would come in Ontario at my aunt's house. Every time we'd go, he'd come at night, especially like 7 o'clock. Pero I've had esquites from other places and guacatela. It's not the same. And yours was one of the very first ones that I tried that I was like, this is so close to the ones in California. Was that where it was inspired? Where did this food come from for you?
So California, Vegas, and Mexico. I go to Mexico every year and I've been going since I was 16 every year.
What
so
part?
I try Guerrero, Mexico City, Puebla, kind of a little bit everywhere. Yeah, I have family everywhere there. So I know what street food needs to taste like, and especially botanas because of...
It's an art.
It's right there. It's an art. And so when I would go to these places and then I come back home here and we didn't have anything, I was like, are you kidding me? It's so good. And that was actually my number one pregnancy craving.
Okay.
And esquites. I think it was just God letting me know there was a sign because never in my life thought I would end up doing this. It was my biggest craving was elotes and esquites during my pregnancy, and we'd have to go to Vegas or like when we go to California, I'd have one and then I would just dream about it. Because like you said, it was just like you would try it somewhere else and it wasn't good. So I was like, I guess I'll just create my own.
It was a nice special treat. Yeah. I remember my family and I would just sit there and we'd just have the elotes and it's nostalgic almost too. Okay, so then that was inspired during your pregnancy, which makes sense why you named it Tiny's. Were you always going to name it Tiny's? What was the inspiration there?
No. So when I was pregnant with Tiny, it was my biggest craving. And there was no place in town to get it except one place in town. And I remember, I think it was just me being pregnant. I honestly don't even think there was anything wrong with the corn. I don't want to say there was. But I sent her dad to go get me a corn there. And I remember when he brought it, he was like, hey, I think there's something wrong with it because it smells very strong. Oh. But you be the judge of it. And so I was like about to take a bite and I just started. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I don't think there was anything wrong with their cheese. If you know about cheese, you know that the stronger it smells, the better it is because that's just cheese. Even in Mexico, I know because one of my uncles had a cheese factory. And every time we'd go in there, like it would stink, but it's because that was like estaban lavando el queso and that's the process of it, and the stronger it smells it's gonna be really good. And so that's what I think it was. I don't think there was anything wrong with them. I think I was just pregnant, that's why I threw up. But I remember being like, dang it, I can't get anything nice around here, I can't find a corn anywhere. And I went my whole pregnancy just craving elotes and never getting it because there was no other place in town besides that one. And when you're pregnant, if you try something and you throw up, you don't really crave it for a while. But I did crave that still. So I didn't know I was gonna start a business. That all started by accident. I didn't plan to be an entrepreneur. I had no idea what I was doing with my life when I was pregnant with Tiny because I graduated high school. I had met her dad. We had dated for a while. Then I graduated high school and then I got pregnant maybe 10 months after graduating high school. Okay. And
were you working at the time?
Yeah, so I was working at the mall doing eyebrow threading. I was doing makeup with Rosie. She's a girl downtown. She owns her barbershop, and I was doing makeup part-time there, working at the eyebrow kiosk, and then I was even a paralegal for an attorney. That was the best money I think I was making at the time because I was working, gosh, in high school I was working like 4 jobs.
My sister and I just had a podcast and we were both like, why were we working so hard at 15, 16, 17? We both were like, we were working more than 40 hours a week. Estábamos en la escuela and we're just like, I think it's just from our families.
Yeah.
With the hustle.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. And that's what I was doing. I was working so much. And the way that I met her dad, I was working a lot. And at the time, I was roomies with one of my friends. And her mom worked at the restaurant.
Chinese dad.
Family owned, the Mexican fast food, like that kind.
Yeah.
Amazing. Better than Australia. Such good food.
Yeah.
I still, even like a year or two ago, we visited the Victorville location and we went and got food there and I said hi to his uncles and stuff. He's like, I'm cool with them and stuff. I was like, this is so good. But yeah, so they have multiple locations in California, in Colorado, just everywhere.
Yeah.
And they had one here in Santa Clara. And so the girl that I was roommates with at the time, her mom worked as a cook there with him. So she would look at him and be like, you're so young and you're single and all you do is work. And then she would look at me, come home, because I would leave early and come home late. All I would do is work. And she's, okay, two hardworking people. They're both single. Let me link them. Matchmaker, yeah. So she told me, come meet him, all this stuff. And then I was like, no, I don't really want to meet anyone. I was just obsessed with making money and working and just single. And I was
fresh out of high school,
living my life. I was like, no, I don't really want to meet anyone. And then she one day set us up and she's like, oh, I need a ride. Can you come pick me up?
Damn, she was committed.
She was like committed, yeah. It was weird. But at the time, I didn't really think anything because I wasn't even interested in him. If somebody were to say that right now about Casey, yeah, that would be a different story. That would be a different story. But at the time, I wasn't even interested in him. So I pull up to the location and he's there and I see him through a window and immediately she said, what do you think? And I was like, no. I was like, absolutely no. And then I was like, but I'll still get some fries and like some food. So I went in there and I tried ordering and usually there's a cashier and he comes to the front and he's, what can I get for you? I remember I was just like, can I get some fries and can I get blah, blah, blah. I was about to pay and he was like, no, like on the house. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I get my fries, I go sit down and then we start heading out. And me and my friend, we were like, okay, we're leaving now. We're going to go bowling in Mesquite. And then out of nowhere, she's like, do you want to come to him? And I just look at her and I'm like, yeah, because I really didn't want anything to do with him. I was set on no. And then he's, well, I get off in like 30 minutes if you guys want to wait. And then I remember telling her like, oh, we're in a hurry. I was just really trying to make it not happen. And then he's, my cousin's visiting. Is it okay if he comes? And my friend's like, yes, it could be like double date. My friend at the time, she really wanted to date someone or be with someone. She was just like very desperate to be with someone. So she was like boy crazy. And she was like, yes, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So then we end up waiting for them and we end up all going together in a car. He was pretty cool. And so was his cousins. They were laid back.
He surprised you almost.
Yeah. So I was like, they're cool. Then she's like, hey, I'm doing like a house party next week. Do you guys want to come? And she invites them. And so they came over and that's when we kicked it off the second time. We were just hanging out a lot, talking a lot. At first I was like, no. I was like, he's cute, whatever. And then from there we just started going on dates and we would just hang out all the time. But his family really didn't like that because he was managing that location. Yeah. And since day one, his family was just awful to me because they saw me as a distraction. And I can see that. I want you to know I can fully see that from their point of view. I can see where they would see him as a distraction because he was fully committed to the restaurant. He was working every day. He'd go and open at 6 a.m. and he would close at 11 at night. And that was his life every day, which was no life. No. And I was the one telling him, that's not a life. And you can say no to your family. Right. Because he was just like, how do I say no to my dad? It's my dad. I don't want to let him down. And I was like, well, you need to also live your own life. And that's not really living. And so I was the one speaking common sense into his head. And they did not like that. No. And because when somebody comes and they're like, set your boundaries. Hey, this doesn't make sense for you. He was telling me like, I don't even get paid sometimes. I'm like, yeah, that's not right. And so when
it's
you
one
have
thing
somebody,
if you're working that much and you're making a lot of money or working towards something for yourself.
Oh yeah. And right after work, he would hurry and clean up to go hang out with me. And we would go to Denny's a lot because it was the only thing open after 11. And so his sister was one of those sisters, and I will call it out, that's obsessed with her brother. She was just crazy. They lived together, and she was like 28 at the time, and I was like 20.
Yeah, younger.
I was like 19, 20, and he was like 20 too. So we were very young. So she would start seeing that he wouldn't come home anymore right after work because we would go to Denny's and have dinner, but he would still open the next day on time. It's not like 6. I was making him late to work or anything, but then he would start requesting, oh, can I get a Saturday off? Because he would never get Saturdays off. He would work
to
there.
Go and have fun and enjoy yourself.
Mind you, he was working Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 11. That was his life. He had no life. So once he met me, we started going on dates and we started going to eat and we started doing fun stuff and going on hikes. And so he would like, hey, is it okay? Can I get off at 7 instead of 10 today? He would even say, I'll come back and help close. I just want a few hours. And they started not liking that. Yeah. That after work, he wasn't coming straight home. And they were very controlling. So they immediately, before even meeting me, I mean, I haven't met them. We're still boyfriend-girlfriend stage. They just had animosity. They just did not like me. I feel like he was finally living like enjoying stuff and enjoying his youth because he was young.
20 years old, working
like, and when I got to meet him, he said he had been working like that since he was a little boy. He never got to play. And so I was like trying to help him, but they saw it as she's taking him away from us. She's a distraction. She's all this stuff. So eventually I ended up getting pregnant with Tiny. And once I got pregnant with Tiny, I had more of a say. And I was like, hey, I had known that he smoked weed and I was okay with that, but I'm not okay with you doing the other stuff because he was doing heavier stuff. And a lot of the time he wasn't even doing it, but he was selling it.
Was it to cope, do you think? Because he was working so much? Was he burnt out or like just...
I think, maybe just the age? I'll be honest. I think the weed was... But I just can't make any sort of excuse for the other. No. I was like, hey, so like you need to get rid of that right now because I will not date you any longer. If you are doing drugs, if you're involved with drugs, if you're involved in this kind of lifestyle. Sure. So that same day, he got off work and he said, okay, he packed it up in his car and he was hey, I'm done. He got rid of it. I'm not going to be in this life anymore. And so he stopped doing that, which was good. He still continued the weed, which at first I was like, okay, it's just weed, like whatever. But the problem with weed, it's not weed itself, it's the addiction. I think anything that you're addicted to.
Sure. Because if he was using it as a coping memechanism, anything can be, food can even be a coping mechanism and it's not healthy for you.
Yeah, it's not healthy. Or anything. So it's not just, I don't want people to view this and think, oh, she's against weed. I'm not against weed.
No.
I'm against anything you're addicted to, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed, whether it's your food style, something that you cannot live without. It's an addiction and you can't stop. It's bad for you.
Sure.
Even like screen time. It can be a lot of different things. It's not just weed. He was just to the point where he couldn't live without it. He couldn't function without it. I ended up getting pregnant with Tiny and immediately the first text that I get once his family found out was from his older sister and she's, I hope you die during labor and I hope the baby dies. I have the text. To this day, I still have the text because I knew because even now she tries denying that she said that. He cut her off. He didn't talk to her for years.
Yeah.
Because I was like, hey, this is not cool. What the hell?
What is this? Yeah. What kind of toxicity is this?
Yeah, because when I found out I was pregnant, I was scared, shocked, but I was also like, okay, we can do this. And he was happy. He was very happy. And my family was just, I feel like now looking back at when I told my parents, they were, I don't think disappointed, but I think they really thought it wasn't the smartest decision. And obviously it was an accident. Like we weren't trying, but we also weren't being
20, like
we're reckless. We weren't really being safe, but we also weren't like planning it. And so it happened and I was like, okay, well, here we go. And so
maybe they were disappointed, not necessarily of the baby, but just like, hey, I wanted different for you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I want you to know you can put anything you want on here. I have one of his, so the sister who acted this way, she's a twin. Oh. And her twin follows me and I'm civil with the twin. Like I can actually call on her. Actually, when Camila goes to Colorado, she's the one that I call. I'm like, I only trust you. And I have her on Instagram. She'll probably see this, but she's very mature. And she knows that both him and I did wrong. Because that's another thing I want to say is that it wasn't just him. Telling this story, like it wasn't just him. I was very toxic. I would break shit too. I would scream. I would cuss. I would do stuff. Like I'm not victim. I'm not playing the victim because I wasn't. I wasn't. Like I was just in this but I'm not here.
You're both almost like in a toxic relationship.
We were in a very toxic relationship together. Yeah. And I think there's things that I could have done better as well as him. So I'm never trying to share the story, but a lot of the problems did come from him and his side. Like my family and him have a beautiful relationship. They love him. He loves them. Right. Till this day, he still calls my parents suegros. And he says, wow. And he's told me and them, because I'm like, can you stop? Because even when I started dating Casey, I was like, can you stop calling my parents out? They're not your suegros, dude. Like, you lost that privilege. And they will always be my suegros. I love them. Wow. And so he always would say like how my dad was such a dad figure to him and he loves my dad, like adores my dad. So my family never caused any issues in our relationship. They were nothing but help. And even till this day, it shows because he has a beautiful relationship with my family. And so that just goes to show, I guess, where your heads were at. Yeah. So I pulled up the messages. I feel like you need to hear this. I'm 19 years old, 18.
Pregnant.
I'm 18, 19 years old, pregnant. Very little. I was like 97 pounds. And this is like an almost 30-year-old woman like coming at me, okay? Because her brother wasn't coming home to her house to sleep anymore. And so it was just like a kind of possessive thing. So she finds out I'm pregnant. I tell him, he's excited, we're happy. I go home, and then I think he ends up telling her. Yeah. And I didn't know. I think he told her like alone, and immediately I get this text from her. And I just want you to see. So that's her name, that's her number. Like, I'm not making this up. I have it all saved. You finally got what you wanted, you stupid bitch. Good luck with being a mom. We all know you're going to suck at it. I will be on you about it. And when you fuck up, guess who's going to take that kid away? Tragado, Y como sabes? It's right there. I'm not making this up.
No. Oh my god.
And she just went on. These were like blocked ones.
It's like, why would you wish that on any woman, first
off? And then
off?
that baby's going to be your karma. And so immediately I was like, hey, like I told him, because mind you, his sister had tried in the past swinging at me, talking crap to me. It wasn't the first time. She was like this our whole relationship.
So there was like an enmeshment almost going on between the son,
she's always like
the brother and the sister.
Yeah, but he told me ahead of time. By the way, she does this to everyone in the family. She has problems with our whole family, with us, with the tios, with my past girlfriends. She's just, it's her. She's very toxic. She's miserable and she's a problem. And so he told me ahead of time, don't take it personal. How the fuck do I not take that personal? Seriously. So like I learned in the past, like she had done a lot of stuff and said, but I was looking past it just for him. And because I was like, he would tell me like, she's just this with everyone. She starts shit with everyone. Drama is her life. It's just drama. Fighting. She would get in fights every single weekend. Like she has 3 kids at home. She would leave them, go out party and just get into physical fights with people. And so he told me ahead of time, like, hey, this is just how she is. But once it started involving like my future kid, like these kind of texts where she's talking about my kid like that,
or
a
taking
baby,
your kid, or anything of that nature.
And I'm like, girl, you got 3 kids and you're out here fighting. You can't even take care of your own. What do you mean that you're gonna take my kid? And so I was like, okay, I showed him the text and I was like, hey, cut her off. I don't give a shit. I don't want her in our lives. So he ends up actually cutting off his sister and he didn't talk to her. I'm not even kidding. I think for 3 years.
Those text messages, I don't know if
he took her off of social media because at that point he saw, okay, she's crazy. And she would call him and be like, I'm so angry at Emilia. Let me have a one-on-one fade with her. I was pregnant, mind you, and I had a belly. She's like, give me like 2 minutes. She's, that's all I need. So she was threatening him. And she, like, I'm going to beat her up even though I was pregnant. So yeah, he ends up moving out. We're hotel hopping for a while, and then my parents know that I'm pregnant. So we go to live with my parents because they had kind of like a casita type of thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Not a casita. It's like an attached room. And so my parents were like, come live here, because my parents knew what his family was doing. And then his dad even ended up getting involved and defending her. And it was because now that I'm pregnant, I will not be tolerating this kind of disrespect from your family.
Yeah.
I don't.
Things were changing.
Yeah. And I'm like, also, we need money because we're having a baby. So you working at the restaurant for free isn't going to cut it. Mm-hmm. And so he told his dad, like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I have to go get an actual job now to provide for my family. Mm-hmm. His dad did not like that because his dad wanted him like hooked on that restaurant forever. And so his dad ended up getting anger towards me. Yeah. And I told the guy off too because he tried coming to me. This is like a 50-something-year-old man coming at me. And there was one time where his dad just got so involved and came directly at me. I was like 20 years old.
You're a
young girl.
Yeah.
And I have
these
grown
people.
Have
his grandchild. Like, you're about to have his grandchild.
Yeah.
Y no puede ver eso.
His whole family was honestly a nightmare. And this excludes the other siblings because he has like 6 siblings. So this is me excluding the younger ones. They minded their own business. But as for the older ones and his parents, they were hell like to be around. They were just miserable people, I think. And they were just horrible people. Even after they tried making pieces, but I just couldn't look past a lot of the stuff. Because what I explained in the text is just like not even 1%
of what you've experienced.
Everything they made me go through and experience with them. And my mom, she would never treat him like that. My dad, it was all love from my side. So we ended up moving with my parents, and throughout my pregnancy, he was good towards the beginning. I want to say like towards the middle, he ended up working because he had to leave the restaurant to start a new place, and he started working at a new place with new people, and there was a lot of people that were doing drugs. And so he ended up getting involved in that again, which was nothing new. He had done it in the past, but he had let go of that life, I feel like, and then he started again. I started noticing because he started getting very skinny, losing weight, and just looking different. And I told him, like, you need to leave the drugs, you need to leave the drugs. There was a lot of domestic violence where he was very abusive. He changed, and I really do think it was the drugs that changed him.
The drugs that changed him?
Yeah, I think so, because he had a really good heart, and he was a good person.
But also, at this point, he's cutting people out of his life, like families. Yeah. He's fighting with his family.
Yeah.
It's almost like he probably went back to cope.
I think so, yeah. And he never cut off his dad or his mom or anything. It was literally just that one sister because she had, like, how he mentioned to me, she had been an issue before in prior relationships he had or friendships or with family. She's just like that. And so he was already, this was like the final straw, I think, that she did where he was like, okay, she's out. And obviously I was also asking for that from her. Like, I didn't want anything to do with her. And so he ends up getting back into drugs and stuff. And my mom, me, my dad, like everyone were trying to help him out. But he wouldn't leave it. He wouldn't stop. And his family, would tell him like, okay, over there, todos se están chingando, you have to leave the drugs. Like over here, we're cool with it. Like vibe. I'm not saying those were their exact words, but that was the vibe that they were giving him.
We'll accept you.
We'll accept you how you are over here. Come over here, you'll be happy, kind of thing. And they knew he was doing drugs. And I called out his mom once. I was like, how can you guys be so okay when he's doing cocaine, he's doing drugs, he's doing this? And it would always just be some excuse, like they were okay with it. And I was like, how can you guys be okay with him doing this, like, to himself? Like, he's destroying, like, he's your son. Like, how are you okay with him destroying his life with drugs and substances and just being addicted? Get him help. I would try and get him to go to a therapist. I'd get him to go get sober. There's, like, a place here where you get sober and they get you help. And
like a rehab almost?
Yeah, and rehab. I offered rehab. And so he just didn't want to.
You really have to want to.
You have to want to, and I understand that.
If you don't, yeah.
For a while I thought, I can change him. I can help him. I will be able to fix him. And
girl, we've all been there.
I put it on me, and I just later realized I can't. He just has to want it on himself. And his family being supportive on his drug abuse and drug substance and everything he's doing, it's not really much help. So he ended up leaving me when I was pregnant. Not like breaking up, but he just one day took off, went to Colorado. Yeah, I'm just going to be living out here for a while. Because over there,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, smoke all the pot you want. We accept you how you are. And over here, me and my family were like trying to take him to church.
More.
We were trying to get him to rehab. We were trying to actually help him here. So we were the bad guys.
Wow.
We were painted as the bad guys for wanting to help him. And he ends up leaving me, and then he ends up coming back because I'm like crying. I'm like pregnant. I'm crying. And I'm like, just come back, like our family, all this stuff. He comes back, and then he ends up leaving again. And he did that so many times during my pregnancy. And right when I was about to be due, we had a really big fight. Cops got involved. He got arrested, domestic violence charge. And then his family, she put you in jail, even though it was literally not even me that called the cops. It was one of the neighbors had seen what the fight that was happening, and she ended up calling the cops. And when the cops came, they saw that
to take somebody.
Well, they saw that like I was cut up in my legs because he ended up dragging me through glass that I broke. By the way, I threw a vase at him and it broke, and then he like grabbed me and dragged me. And I told the cops
and
like, I'm pregnant, and I was bleeding. So who do the cops take? Like. And then he had weed and guns and in the same room. And so the cops come and they're looking at the house and they're like, what happened? And I tell them we were arguing. And I was honest. I said, I threw the vase at him and it did hit him and it broke on the floor. But he like grabbed me and he dragged me through the glass and I have cuts now. And they saw I was pregnant. Then they go to look for him because he ran.
Oh, wow.
And they go in his room and they see weed and guns, and they were like, what the hell? So at that point, they're like, we're taking him, because I didn't really have anything. Even though I told them I threw the vase, and that wasn't like, they didn't arrest me or do anything, because he was shouting at me and screaming at me, and I was pissed. And I can sit here and lie and say I threw the vase because I was scared and defending myself. No, I threw it out of anger. I'm honest. I'm not going to sit here and victimize myself. I threw it out of anger to hurt him. And so they ended up, the neighbor, I was trying to get out of the house and he's dragging me back inside, and the neighbor sees that. So she calls the cops. Cops show up, they saw that, they arrest him. And then his family, she put you in jail. She did this to you. When the charges were for the marijuana, the guns, the drugs.
So they even like completely passed.
They didn't even get, it was just always me. It was me. They didn't even care about the drugs or the other stuff. It was just me every time to them. So he ends up leaving, and then I end up getting called by, actually, I don't even know how this works, but they ended up calling me, what is it called in court? I think.
In prosecutor?
And he tells me, hey,
do you want to press charges?
Yeah, he calls me into his office and he said, do you want to press charges? And at the time I was like, I really just want my family. Like, that's what I want. I was like, and he is my family because he's the father of my child. I was like, so I don't want to press charges. Like, if we can just let him go. And so he said, okay, so we are going to drop some charges, but that doesn't disqualify like the other charges he had for the drugs and the guns. Because if you have both in the same room, it's like a felony. And so they were like, okay, he heard me out. Because I was like pregnant and begging him. I was like, please, like my baby's about to be born. Like, I don't want to press charges. And so he ends up dropping them, but then he still got charged for other stuff. And then
he dropped the domestic violence stuff.
Yeah. I believe that's what he dropped, or he dropped something. I can't remember which one he dropped, but he dropped some. And then he still wants to be with me. I still want to be with him. It's a very toxic relationship. We had multiples of those fights. Yeah. Not a lot where I was cut up. That was like the one time where I got hurt, where I was like, I had to go get stitches. Yeah. Because I was bleeding so much. That was the only time it was like that. Other times, like, we would throw stuff, scream, cuss, get in each other's faces, talk shit, but it was never escalated to that point. He ends up leaving with his family because they convinced him. And then I'm like telling him like, please come back. Like we're trying to still be together. He wants to, but
and Tiny's not born yet, right?
No.
Okay.
No. And so then I tell him her due date's coming up. I'm like a week out. You need to come back because she's going to be here soon. So he ends up coming back. And as always, my family just accepting, regardless of what he did to me. They were like we're renting that casita out to you guys. This is your home. So they were just like, whatever she chooses to do kind of thing. Like, yeah, they weren't really controlling, because his family was very controlling, trying to manipulate and tell him what to do all the time. My family wasn't. They were like, free will. You guys do what you want, but obviously like they weren't in agreement with everything because it was getting very toxic, and they would tell me.
They would talk to you about it.
Yeah. And so I end up going to the hospital. My water didn't break. I end up peeing. I see blood and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have my baby. So my mom ends up driving me to the hospital, and then Efrain was working at the time doing stucco.
Yeah.
And I call him and he meets me at the hospital. And so he's there and he shows up high as fuck, like just super high, just bloodshot red eyes. He's not even there. He's gone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Like, on the day of her daughter being born? Like, why do you have to do this? And I hate it when people are like, well, that's the kind of man you pick, because he was not like that when I met him. Like I said, when I met him, he was smoking weed, but not to that extent yet, like where it was like every single day. And he got rid of the drugs. Like, he was good and just such a different person. He became this like over time and because of the people he was hanging out around.
Yeah.
And so anyways, he shows up super high and I'm just like, whatever, like trying to make the best out of it. I'm excited Tiny's going to be here. She's born. He holds her, and then they hand me the birth certificate. And I remember looking at him and he was holding her. And I remember I didn't put him down on the birth certificate. I just couldn't. This guy left me throughout my whole pregnancy, like in and out. I don't know if he's going to be here forever. And he's the dad because he's a sperm donor. But he's not really a dad. He hasn't been a dad through like my pregnancy, and I don't know how he's going to be now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be with this guy forever. In that moment, I had realization after having her, and she was out. And he
almost
was
like clarity.
It was like clarity. I was like, I don't think he's going to change. I don't see myself being with him forever if he doesn't change. And if he does, I see it very impossible for him to change. And so in her birth certificate, it's just me. Like, I'm her only legal guardian. He's not on it.
Which I've been told that you're supposed, like, if that's kind of the situation that you're in, that you're supposed to do that? Or
absolutely.
Or that it's a way to do it to protect you almost.
100%. And anybody watching this, if you're in a domestic violence relationship or if your partner is like that, I really recommend not putting them on the birth certificate. I went to an attorney after having her because I was like scared. Once you have a kid, it's like different. So like, even though I was with him, I was scared in the future that him or his horrible family was going to try and take her away. And so I went to an attorney and I was like, here's all the texts of his sister threatening to hurt me, wishing my daughter was dead, that she hopes I die during labor. And so I showed him all the texts I showed you. Yeah. And the attorney saw them and he has it all in a file. I said, here is all proof of abuse. Police reports, everything, proof, pictures, his drug abuse, everything. And I put it all in a file and I said, here's text from the dad, here's text. I had everything documented of his family, everything they had done, everything he had done. And I told the lawyer that I went to, I said, I want to write something right now where it protects me and my daughter. And so he said, is he on the birth certificate? That was the first thing he asked me. And I said, wow. No. And he said, you are smart, girl. The attorney told me this. He said, you are smart, girl. He's like, this, I want you to know, just saved you a lot. And you are in good hands. You will be taken care of in your daughter. If you would have put him on the birth certificate, I would have had my hands tied. Like, I wouldn't know how to help you because he's legally her dad and he's on there. But because you didn't put him on the birth certificate, that saved you a lot of trouble and hassle in the future. And it made his process, if he ever tries anything, 10 times harder. And so it was the smartest thing I ever did, honestly. Until this day, I don't regret it.
Wow. Like, just to protect Tiny.
Just to protect myself and Tiny. I was like, I don't.
Because if he wanted to do something, he'd have to go through the whole process of becoming legally her father, and proving it, money, and then he'd have to
lots of money,
ask for custody. So what is your custody now, if you don't mind me asking?
So not legally, we don't have a custody thing legally.
Yeah, like an agreement.
It's just us, mutual agreement. Because we just have
you two can decide.
We can decide now, yeah. And it's hard sometimes with him still because he has not changed at all. We ended up splitting up after years. It just got worse and stuff. Yeah. And so we ended up splitting up. He wouldn't leave the drugs. And he told me to my face, I will never leave the drugs. He said, I will never stop smoking weed. I'm never going to stop. So just get it in your head. And I'm like, really? Not even for Tiny? Because Tiny was born already. And I was like, really? No, not even for her. And he wouldn't even provide diapers for her, formula. Like, a lot of the time I would have to go to the clinics and I would have to ask for donations. And her pediatrician still remembers me probably because I would go, and you're supposed to take 1 tub of formula that they give out. I would take 4, and they would just let me. And I'm like, I think they knew. They knew what I was going through. They knew what was happening because they would let me. And usually you're only, like, it's a one.
They would only let you take 1.
Yeah, but I would just take the formula. And I would be in there like multiple times a week just asking for formula. I would be on the like Moms Helping Moms group on Facebook, just paying attention to like free clothes, free formula, because at the time I didn't have Tiny's, my business, so I had no income, and we were fully reliant on him. I was working part-time before I had her, but then I stopped. And so he was working and doing stucco, and he was providing for us. But what he would do is he would take all that money and he would just go spend it on drugs. Yeah. And when he would come home, I'd be like, we're hungry. Well, I don't have any more money, because he would spend it all on drugs. So Tiny wouldn't get formula. Tiny wouldn't get diapers. It was constantly asking my family. And after a while, I felt bad because like my mom and my dad were really picking up after his slack, like providing for us. And so I stopped telling my parents to struggle and just dealt with it on my own. And I would go to the clinics and stuff and get free formula and free diapers and just be on the pages looking around for free stuff. Yeah. And I remember my mom would sometimes have to Venmo me. She'd waive my rent a lot. And I remember just leading up to where I got fed up with him and just being done was I just started looking at myself, and I was very depressed. I had to reach like rock bottom. I wanted to die. I literally wanted to be dead. I would tell my mom, like, I'm so depressed. I don't want to be alive. I hate my life. This guy just makes it his goal in life every day to make me cry. He would make me cry every day for a year straight. I just cried every day. And so I was like, I hate my life so much. I don't want to be alive.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's rock bottom.
Yeah.
Very brave of you to share.
I had to really hit rock bottom, and I was just broke. We were so poor. We didn't have any money. We were living in a room. Tiny was a baby, and I just knew I would look at her and I'm like, one day this little girl's going to tell me she wants to join dance or do stuff, and I won't be able to afford it. And one day she's going to want birthday parties, and I won't be able to afford them. And one day she's going to go to school, and I don't know how I'm going to get her clothes and school supplies. And I don't even have a car. I didn't have a car to drop her off. We were using my dad's like old truck.
He was letting you borrow. Yeah.
So he was letting Ephraim borrow it to go to work. And then after a while, like I decided, okay, I was just so rock bottom. I was depressed, and I went to a doctor, and he diagnosed me with body dysmorphia. And because I had been very thin my whole life and very confident, and I loved my body and everything. And so after having a baby,
your body changes.
The thing is, I'm not even fat. If you look at me, I actually look better than I did before because I gained some weight, but healthy weight and muscle weight. But I was just not used to it. And this man was just making me feel horrible. He would make me feel like I was the ugliest girl in the world. Like, he really would. And like, he would just beat me down so bad. I'm not kidding, Melissa. It would be his goal to make me cry.
Wow.
So every day he'd wake up and he would just say something to make me cry, and then he'd go about his day and be happy. That was like satisfying to him. And he would get me every time. He would make me cry every time, and I would have a horrible day.
He knew how to push your buttons and everything.
So I go to the doctor. I'm diagnosed with body dysmorphia and depression, and he immediately says, okay, antidepressants, let's get you on them. And so I remember one of my friends telling me that antidepressants just messed her up really bad and that they're not good, that you get hooked on them. So I remember like I was driving and I had already gotten my prescription and I had the antidepressants in my hand. And I remember just thinking, I'm just going to start on these. But I remember something, I don't know if it was God. I think it was him. I really, like, all glory to God. I think it was him. But in that moment I was like, I just want to give life like one more shot. And before
like, this was your rock bottom.
This was like my rock bottom realization.
Fork in the road.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to give life one more shot. And I'm just really going to try and be happy and improve my life in healthy ways.
Without the medication.
Without the medication. So what's a healthy way that I can cope with all this? And I was like, working out. So that's when I met Steph. And so I'm on my phone and I'm scrolling. And I don't know how she even came up on my page.
I said the same thing. Me and Emily, well, I don't know if Emily says it, but I say it. I'm like,
it was
said she wasn't advertising.
She wasn't advertising.
And I don't remember how I saw her because we weren't even friends.
Yes.
And she just came up on my feed too.
So that's how it was.
Pivotal time in my life.
And me too. Dude, and so I just think it's
she's
God.
Magic.
God has a way of working, and I really think that Steph was put like on this earth to help people.
Because that's what you needed at the time.
Yeah.
That's what you needed.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I was like, I'm not gonna cry.
It's okay to cry. It's a long ways too.
Yeah.
It's been years now.
Yeah.
So
I'm like scrolling, and then she wasn't advertising. It was just like her regular Instagram. And I look and I see her and I'm like, this girl is fit and she has such a nice body. Like, she was goals. And usually when I would see personal trainers like that, or people, like, they just gave off vibes like,
you just didn't connect with them.
I didn't connect with them. Yeah, I'm better than you. I know better than you. Like, Steph from the get-go, she just seemed very, like, she is who she portrays to be. Very calm, very gentle, like, very good vibes, humble. And so I remember she wasn't advertising, so I don't know how I stumbled on her profile. I'm looking, and then I see her, and she's looks amazing. I'm like, this girl looks great. I'm gonna ask her. And she wasn't advertising.
Yeah.
She hadn't even, I think, started her business.
I don't think so either. I think maybe it was like a post or something. Like, oh, I'm gonna start opening myself up to train people or something. Message me.
So when I saw her though, she wasn't even doing that.
Oh, okay.
No, it was just like her regular pictures.
Asking.
So I messaged her. I was like, hey, like I want to start working out and stuff, but I don't know anything because I had never stepped foot in a gym. So I was like, I don't know anything about working out. I don't know form. I don't know anything. I don't know what to do. Do you train? And she was like, hey, yeah, like I don't do it yet, but I could do it for you. And so I remember we linked up like later that week, and I took her to this fitness thing that I was going to at the time, and it was like different type of fitness. She was like, yes, this is great. She's, but with me, I'll get you on a meal because it's what you eat, and like we'll do this and that. And it was like what she is now, like her soul fitness.
A meal plan and a fitness.
And a fitness. And so I remember I was one of her very first clients too, and I went to her, and I remember I didn't right away tell her like everything in my life, but she soon started to realize it because she would probably see me come in with bruises or sad and depressed and always stressed, and I was very thin, and she would just see me and I was just like not doing well at all. And so she started picking up, and then eventually we became friends and we built that bond. And so I started trusting her and telling her stuff, and I would just cry in her garage. I'm not kidding. I think out of, let's say, 20 sessions, 10 of those I probably just spent crying, just not like wanting to go home because he was there and he was so horrible. And I remember her telling me, she was like, I do not like this guy at all. She just met him a few times and she saw him, and just what she would hear, she's like, I don't like him and all this stuff. And honestly, she was probably the only person in my life telling me to leave him, and my sister. Yeah. Because even my family, like Steph now even says like, why wouldn't your family tell you to leave him? And it's because my family has this very traditional thing of you stay no matter what. And it's okay, mom, just because you did that, that's cool. Or just because my aunt did that or whoever. But so I was raised with that mindset of we stay no matter what, no matter the abuse, no matter the cheating, no matter this, no matter that. And like Steph and my sister were the only ones that were like in my life telling me like, you need to leave him. But I didn't have the courage to leave because I wanted a family, because growing up with a family dynamic of having mom and dad, I wanted that for my daughter.
Sure.
And I felt I put the blame on me. Oh, if I leave him, it'll be my fault. She doesn't have that family, even though he was causing all the reasons to leave. Because then
isn't that so like the like women are so nurturing that they're like, take that on themselves, and they're like, I'm gonna cause this harm, and you're not even.
Yeah. And so I start training with Steph, and then eventually I'm paying her each month like for the thing or whatever, and eventually it gets to a point where he, like I said, was spending all the money on drugs and stuff. So I go to Steph and I'm like, Steph, I'm sorry, I cannot work out with you anymore. She's like, why? And I was like, because he grabbed my savings and he blew it all on weed and on drugs and stuff, and he blew all his money, and so now I don't know how to pay my rent and for the room we were renting, and it's either my rent, like the money that I'm getting, because I was working part-time at Sephora at the makeup store, but I was only making $10 an hour, and so I wasn't making a lot, and it was very part-time, little hours, and so I was only making $300 a month. And so I was like, so I can get those 300 and it has to go to my rent because he didn't pay it. And I was like, so I can't pay you, and so I'm gonna have to stop working out. But at the time I didn't have a car. Like I said, we were like very broke, very poor, and so I was biking on my bike like to her house with Tiny like on there, a baby. And so Steph would just see like the determination like that I had to be there, and like the dedication to be there, and even bringing Tiny or biking there, because I lived all the way in Santa Clara, like all the way over by like Lawbridge, and she lived like where she does. Mm-hmm. It was a long bike, and I would bike there and back just to go train. And so she was like, don't pay me. I remember she was like, don't pay me. She's like, I just want you to really focus on that business. Because at this time I was already giving her like little sneak peeks of Tiny's Botanas.
You were starting to do
I was the candies, and she was like, I just want you to focus on that, grow it, get your bread up kind of thing, leave this man and get your life together, and that'll be enough for me. I just want to see you do good. Like, you don't have to pay me. Wow. I'm still going to train you for free. And so she trained me for free. I can't remember how many months, but she did. But because of that, that kind of pushed me, like, not owing her, because she didn't make it seem like I owed her something, but I did feel that way. I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's training me for free, and all she wants is for me to just really focus on this business so I can make something out of myself. And so I just started like pushing that hustling, and that's what kind of made Tiny's like blow up and stuff. At the time when him and I were still together, I hadn't left him. It was very hard for me to leave him. Very hard, because I was very deeply in love with him, like very deeply in love.
And you guys were toxically,
very
toxically entangled.
Oh yeah. And so it was hard. It was attachment, and I just felt like if I left him, this was like the major thing. I felt like if I left him, he was gonna die. I feel like I felt like I was the only one in my family, like trying to get him close to God, trying to get him to rehab, trying to help him, and everybody else was okay with his lifestyle. And so I felt like if I'm the only one doing that, and then I end up leaving him, he's gonna be so lost, and he might die. One day I'll get a call that he's dead, and I couldn't live with that. And so it was like I was putting it a lot on myself. And eventually he ends up cheating on me. So he starts cheating, and it's just like through text and stuff. It started slowly. And it was really sad because he couldn't like keep up with our bills, and he was like working with doing stucco. And so I was like, well, I'll help you, I'll go get a job. So I sacrificed time being at home with my daughter just to go help him pay the bills. And while I would be out working to help him, he would be cheating. Like he would just be texting girls while having Camila in his arm. And
oh my God.
I remember like I found out on Christmas, and it was Camila's first Christmas, and that's when I found out. The morning of Christmas, I found out he was cheating. It was her first Christmas, and so I didn't want it to go to shit, but I was crying, and I was so sad that morning. And then I got myself together, put makeup on, got ready, and I was just like, I put on a smile. My family didn't even know.
Wow.
Tiny obviously had no clue. And I remember we couldn't afford any presents that year for Christmas because he just blew it all on weed. And so we just got some presents for my grandparents and my mom and dad. And that's what Camila opened that day. And I remember he just showed up to Christmas so high. And I'm like, because weed's expensive. And all of these drugs he was doing were expensive. I'm like, how does he have money for all that? But like, he couldn't even give our daughter. Yeah.
And so one present. Yeah. Something.
Yeah. And so we went, me and Camila, just living holiday, just our life was just like really reliant on people giving us stuff and just free stuff and just whatever we could afford because we didn't have any money and we couldn't rely on him. Well, eventually he ends up cheating a lot, and my breaking point was not the Christmas, because that was when she was 1. 3 years later, it's her 3rd birthday party. And
wow, you put up with this for a long time.
We were together for almost 5 years. Yes, I put up with it for a very long time.
Which I have no room to speak.
No, by the way, no, I get it. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
I remember thinking that same thing too with certain things. There's like, I chose this life, and I'm gonna stay in it.
Yeah. And like it didn't help, like I said, that we came from very like Hispanic households where it's like you just put up with everything, and it's like they don't really believe it. Like job. Even my parents, they would always be like, divorces son de americanos, like americanos se divorcian, ahí luego se juntan con alguien más, and they go to therapy, and they didn't believe in therapy. And like my parents were like that, they didn't believe like therapy, and they didn't believe, now they do, but like at the time they were like, oh, eso de divorce and therapy, very American thing.
Which statistically it was, but it's also because women can decide now. No? They could decide, and they had the ability to leave.
Yeah, exactly.